Here we are, ladies and gentlemen, and happy Sunday on this holiday season. Sean White coming to you here for another installment, and I actually titled this Never Go Back. And I was inspired by this because I was watching someone and they were talking about never going back. And at first, when I was listening to it, I really wasn't understanding on what the person was actually saying. But then, very interesting, I paused it because I was led by the Spirit to really talk about this and create some content around it. And so I said, you know what? On a Sunday, I believe that this title here of Never Going Back, I believe is going to resonate with someone. And I don't know who it may be for. For all I know, it may be just for myself, right? But the goal is that by me speaking on this and by you guys all participating in it, I believe someone can get value. And I believe as far as there would be a shift in the making in which anytime you have a platform and you have a story or a message, that is normally the goal, right? Because you never know who you can help. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started here. Again, my name is Sean White, and welcome to another installment of Transformation Greatness along with the Small Business Network podcast. I believe this is episode 159 or 160. I'm not quite too certain. But we're going to be talking about here never going back. And that can go in so many different ways. But before I do, I just want to say hello to all those who listen to the audience. We have here Shanika Reynolds, aka Team Georgia, Team Faith. She is doing amazing work, and thank you so much for tuning in. I definitely appreciate that. Also, if you're catching this on the live, if you can do me a favor, put in the hashtag live. Let me know exactly on where you're tuning in from. That will be amazing. And if you should happen to catch this on a replay, because of course you're, have other commitments, you're out and about doing other things, etc. Put in the hashtag replay. Let me know where you're tuning in from. And most importantly, put your comments in, guys, because this allows for me really to get feedback. And also, too, you guys with your comments, it allows for me to create the type of content in which that you like versus the other way around. So let's go ahead and talk about this topic here, never going back. When you first hear of it, never going back, you're like, okay, that's so broad, right? We hear that a lot. Never go back as far as to that job. Never go back to that current situation. Never go back from what you were used to thinking or used to doing. It's so broad, right? And it's like, okay. But what does that mean, right? Sounds good, just like a million other cliches, right? But I believe that when it says never going back, I want you to think about it this way. When you are progressing, when you're moving and elevating in life, whether you are pursuing a career, whether you are an entrepreneur and you're improving your skill set, whether you're a speaker and you're elevating to that next level, what I mean by never going back is going back as far as to who you were in the past. And when I think about that, that means as far as the things in which that I used to do, right, that was very mediocre, right, things that was very comfortable, very safe, right, because of the fact now I'm a totally different person many years later, I cannot afford that same mentality because that's not on who I am. Is this making sense? So when you are moving forward, when you're looking to accomplish anything in life, your way of thinking and way of being must be in a state of whoever you want to be, whoever you want to become. You have to become that person now. I think I lost somebody. So let me see if I can give you another example in which that makes sense, right? You ever came across an individual, maybe yourself, right, that You say, man, you know what? I want that business, man. I want to reach ten to $15,000 a month, man. I want that time freedom, man. I want to be able to just be able to do the things in which that I want to do, right? But yet, when it comes to doing the actual work in itself, meaning as far as doing the creation, meaning as far as with prioritizing yourself, meaning that you are putting in the work as far as with your professional and personal development, you get very lazy on that. You're like, you know what? I don't know. I mean, yeah, I know I got some time. I know I got about an hour to create the content. Yeah, I know I got an hour to schedule, and prioritize for the week. But you know what? I don't know right now. I'm just not really feeling that. I'll do that probably later on tonight, or I'll do it first thing in the morning. Then what happens is that there is a level of incongruency. Or in other words, in layman's terms, right, you're not keeping it real with yourself. So now you're lying to yourself, and in the back of your mind or in your subconscious mind, it's like, oh, really? Okay. I hear as far as on what you're saying. Yeah, that sounds cute, right? That sounds good. It's pleasing to the ears. But me and you both know, you're really not going to do the work. So you see, what happens now is that we're basically sabotaging, right, our own success. Does that make sense? Okay. I feel that some people still may not be catching on what I'm saying. Okay, so let me go ahead and put it to you another way, right? You want to be able to now be able to live the dream life. You want to be able to have positive people in your circle. You want to be able to attend events and be a part of opportunities in which something in which that you've been asking for the longest time, but yet you are hanging out with individuals that only have a penny mentality, and that's only good as far as with just getting minimum wage. And guess what? These are the type of individuals that every single time you have a conversation with them is always something negative and dreary, and they always want to involve you in gossip. Know anybody? Maybe perhaps a family member, maybe a friend, heck, maybe even someone that you even live with. So what I mean by never going back is that in order for you to really say, you know what, this is what I truly, truly want out of my life. This is what I want for my legacy to be. Then you have to make a committed decision. You have to draw a line in the sand and say enough is enough. There's one thing in which I learned in this business as being an entrepreneur. It's one thing that I learned in this thing called life, is that it's one thing to say it, but it's another thing to do it. And why is that, Sean? Why is it that so many people, they want better, but they can't do better? And the answer to that is very simple, is because it's something called conformity, meaning that it's natural for us as human beings to be at a certain level because it's safe and very comfortable. It takes very less brain power. There is no risk involved whatsoever. You don't need no courage for just doing the same thing over and over and over again because it's routine, right? It's very robotic. You know what you're going to do day in and day out. Yes, it can be frustrating. Yes, it may be aggravating, but it's safe. It's comfortable, right? There is no risk involved. You don't have to stretch. So what happens now, what you have in that same mentality, is that in theory, you're actually doing exactly on what you don't want to do. And what is that? You are actually going back to the old person in which that you were because it's safe. It's comfortable. It's familiar. Your family members know you that way. Your friends know you. Your colleagues know you like that. And guess what? They recognize you because you're the same old, same old. But when you are elevating to another level, when you are progressing, when you're growing, your vocabulary and language is starting to change, when things is looking differently. Your mentality is changing. How the way that you conduct yourself, how the way you move with a certain manner, with massive action. Now what happens is that individuals that knew you, right, for such a long time, now they can't even recognize you, to the point that now you look like an alien, and they're like, who are you? Come on, guys, talk back to me. Is this making sense? Is this making sense? Does this resonate with you, I wonder? And if not, then I'm just speaking to myself, which is totally fine. I want to ask you all this. Is there a penalty? Is there a cost for you going backwards versus stretching and growing by going forward? That's something I have to ask myself, because what happens is that if we don't put a penalty or consequence for not doing the work that we've been sent to do, if we are not moving in accordance with our gifts and talents and skill sets that we've been given freely to do the work that we've been assigned to do, is there a penalty or a consequence? That's something that we all have to ask ourselves. I want you to think about everyone that you admire, everyone that you respect in life, maybe on your job, maybe your business colleagues, maybe an entertainer. And ask them the question: did they understand the risk that was involved for moving forward? Was there a consequence, or was there a commitment, a level of sacrifice that it took for them in order to grow and evolve and start truly working in their gifts? A better question would be, did they ask themselves, was there a penalty or consequence for going back to who they were in the past and being stagnant and not growing and not truly moving in their purpose? And I can pretty much assure you that more than 90% of the time, if you was to ask them that question, they would tell you absolutely. And I believe the reason why some of you are not growing and elevating and progressing to the point or to the area where you're supposed to be is because you're still comfortable in that old thinking, that old environment, being around individuals that are toxic, right? Being in environments which are toxic, which you know is not good for you, but for some reason it's comfortable, right? It's almost like being home. I'm pausing here intentionally because I want this to really sink into your spirit. I don't want this to be where, oh, well, that sounds good, right? That sounds amazing, pretty cool, right? Yeah, I can share this over and get a bunch of likes, right? Yeah, that was real cool. That was real, yeah, rah, 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 rah. No. The point of this talk that I'm having with you this afternoon is that there has to be a disruption of the spirit. There has to be a conviction within yourself that you get mad, you get very angry at yourself, and you say, you know what? Not going back. Not going back, man, to the way how I was, to the way of how I thought, to feeling like I'm not smart enough, I'm not good enough, I can't do this, I don't have enough resources, I don't have the money, I don't have the talents. When will you come up with that decision within yourself? Because I'm going to tell you something, folks. 2024 is shaping up to be one of those explosive years where it's going to be individuals that you may have said to yourself, I don't know how this person done did it, but they're doing it. And why is that? Because they understand and realize that, you know what? In spite of what it looks like, in spite of what it feels like, in spite of what people may say about it, I'm just going to move forward and trust the process. Because they understand, maybe you understand, that going backwards is not an option. It's non-negotiable. It's almost like saying, burn the boats. There is no plan B, or C, or D. You either sink or swim. You either make it happen or you don't. It has to be a spirit of urgency to where, like, you know what? If I don't do this, if I don't make it happen, if I don't improve and work into my gifts and talents, if I don't show up and serve, if I don't do this thing, then it will not happen, period. Just making sense to anybody? Because we all have assignments. We all have gifts. We all have talents. Some of you guys know exactly what you're supposed to be doing. I know exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. There's no guesswork. There's no mystery involved. None of that stuff. But then there's many others that don't have an absolute clue on what the heck they're supposed to be doing. And I'm not mad at you guys, because for a while I was right there with you. So there is no judgment. There is no condemnation whatsoever. And if you're one of those individuals that you know you have a life purpose, you know you have a calling, there is something that's within you that you know you're supposed to be doing, but you're just having a hard time. It's very unclear, very murky. But let's have a conversation. Let's talk around that. Because I am looking for individuals, people that are serious, to really be able to discover who they really are, what their life purpose is, and what they're supposed to be doing. I'm looking for individuals that's saying, you know what, enough is enough, man. Enough is enough. I'm tired of this, man. And like, look, I got work to do, and I know I got something there, and I know that, guess what, if I don't do it, the world doesn't benefit from it, you guys don't benefit from it, and guess what? It goes with me to the gravesite. If that's you, message me after this podcast, and let's set up a time and really get intentional. Really get intentional. Because there's breakthroughs, there's aha moments, there are discoveries about yourself that needs to be unlocked. And I would love to be on that journey with you. I'm going to go ahead. You know what? I was going to close this out. But I will be on as long as you guys want me to be. Because I understand it's a Sunday. I understand that people want to relax. I get it. I understand, you have individuals that may want to watch football and catch up on their, latest movies or whatever the case. I get that. But I'm also being led to stay on this just a little bit longer. Because if you have any questions, if you have any comments, anything in which that you would like to add, or perhaps if you even would like to come on board and even expound more on this with me, send me an invite and I would love to bring you on board. Because we need to have more conversations like this, folks. It's one thing to teach you on branding, on marketing, on strategies, the latest trick, right? On how to get clients, on how to, get more money, right? There's a gazillion courses, a gazillion different pieces of content that you can get from influencers from all over social media, right? And that's probably the reason why I focus more so on the mindset, because one thing I discovered during my 11 years, coming on 12 years of being an entrepreneur, is that it doesn't matter the techniques, it doesn't matter the strategies, it doesn't matter. You can have all that literally on a napkin right in front of you, A, B, C, D, E, F. And when you're done with that, you go to G and then the H and I. Because if your mindset is not there, if your spirit is not there, if you're still holding on to things from the past because you don't want to let go in order for you to move into your true, authentic self, then what's going to happen is that internally you're going to have a struggle. Subconsciously in the back of your mind is not going to accept that, and thus there's going to be a constant resistance each and every single time. And how I know that is because I'm speaking from experience. You're speaking to someone that used to self-sabotage all the time. They might as well have nicknamed me the Sabotager. Come on, can anybody relate to that? Can anybody relate to that? And why? Because like I said, when I move backwards, I don't want to go back, but it's comfortable. It's familiar. You see this picture above me? I want to show you something. See this picture? Yeah, I don't know if you can. Yeah. Okay, there you go. See that picture right there? That picture represents endless possibilities. That picture represents your future. That picture represents whatever you want to be. Why? Because it's all about perspective. But I also want you to notice something as well as I bring this back up. Do you see that? It's all within the frame. What about now if you was to look at it from a different lens? What about if I was to now take my glasses off and then look at that same picture, but look at it from a different vantage point? Look at maybe from the left, perhaps from the right. Maybe if I was to come up real close, or maybe perhaps even move even farther back. Now I get to see it from a different vantage point. What am I saying by giving you that analogy, folks? Is that in terms of your life, in relation to you, when you're looking at your life from a different vantage point, when you're able to now put a different lens or a different perspective on it, on your gifts, on your talents, on your business, on what you're looking to do, people that you are looking to align yourself with, right? Gaining those relationships, well, by the way, relationships is gold. It is currency. Now you start to see it from a perspective of, oh, I see now. This is the reason why I can never go back. Because what I am looking for, what I truly, truly want out of this life, legacy, financial freedom, whatever that may look like, it's not going to be behind me. It's right in front of me. But I couldn't see it because I had the lens, right? I was in the frame of the old me. Let that sink in for a second. pretty powerful. And as I mention this to you, ladies and gentlemen, this is also confirmation and affirmation for myself as well. Because I'm being elevated and being called to something way bigger than myself. And there are opportunities and events that's coming up that I'm going to be a part of that is way bigger than myself. And in order for me to get to that next level of evolution, in order for me to have that transformation, greatness within myself to where I can show you on who I am and where I'm at, in order to really be a testimonial as far as to others, then what's ahead of me, I have to look at it from the vantage point of it being current and present. Is that making sense? If that's making sense, please smash out these hearts. Put the hearts in the comment section. Please share this out to someone or to an organization that you believe that can truly benefit from this. In which, by the way, if you're looking for speakers to speak at your next event or organization, I'm your man. Just reach out to me. Just putting it out there. But I don't see any other questions on inquiries or comments, so I'm going to go ahead and leave it with this. And Ms. Reed, you are correct. Self-sabotage is real. And that's because, again, we're looking at it from the old lens. Sometimes the only thing we have to do is just clean our lens and look at it from a different vantage point. This is what I have to say, and then I'll go ahead and close. I think you guys got the point. Very smart and articulate bunch, and I appreciate you hanging out with me on this Sunday afternoon. This year is coming down to a close. 2024 is right around the corner. A lot of great and exciting things is happening. And there's also too a uncertainty on what's to come. In order for you to get to that next level, and I'm talking about above and beyond to the point that you become unrecognizable, what are you willing to do morally and ethically? I gotta put that out there. What are you willing to do personally to really make that happen? To really show others that it is possible. It doesn't matter where you're from, doesn't matter of your family background, your economic status, but what are you willing to do personally to show others that it's possible? And with that, I believe somebody have truly had a breakthrough or aha moment. I appreciate each and every single last one of you. This has been a joy and an absolute privilege. This concludes Transformation Greatness along with the Small Business Network podcast. Please feel free to follow me on all the major social media handles. Of course, here on Facebook. I'm also available on Instagram under Mr._Politic35, as well as LinkedIn, Sean A. White, Transformation Greatness. YouTube is going to be the same thing. Twitter, Threads, I'm pretty much all over the place. And again, guys, if you are that person that you are stuck, you don't understand your life purpose, you know you're meant for something greater, something better, but you just don't know on where to start. You don't even know what it even looks like because you got so much of this junk in your mind and your spirit. I'm looking for 10 people. That's all. Just 10 people to work with, one-on-one. And I got a special for you. And if you're interested, you would like to find out more, please feel free to reach out to me after this podcast is over. But until then, if what I stated on here either motivated, transformed, or inspired at least one person, And may God be the glory, and I take no credit for absolutely none of it. Until then, you're all amazing. I appreciate your time once again on this Sunday afternoon. By His grace and mercy, look forward to seeing you all on the next episode. Peace and love, family. Thank you for your time. Have a blessed one.